The power rule tells us that when you have a function x to the nth power and you take the derivative with respect to x, you will get n times x raised to the n minus 1 power, as long as your n is non-zero. How do we apply the power rule? So, for example, when n is a positive integer, so x, let's say to the 10th power, and you want to take the derivative with respect to x, you will get, take the power n down, so 10 times x raised to the n minus 1 power. So n is 10, 10 minus 1 is 9. So this is a derivative when n is a positive integer. Now how about when n is a negative integer? So x raised to, or maybe put it this way. So let's say we want to find the derivative of 1 over x to the third power. Okay, so we want to take the derivative. Now it's a fraction. You cannot use a rule for x to the third power because it's not the same. So the first thing you need to do is to change it to the power form. So x to the negative 3 power. Now you look at the power is negative 3 and you take the derivative. So negative 3 is the power. You take the power down, so negative 3. You multiply by x. And you have to raise it to the power. And the power should be negative 3 minus 1. So it should be negative 4th power. Then you can simplify if you want. But if you keep it this way, it's obvious that you apply the power rule for x to the nth. So if you simplify it, you will get negative 3 over x to the 4th power. And then the last example we can have is when you have, let's say, a square root of x. Okay, so how do we take the derivative of square root of x? Well, people don't want to deal with a square root, and square root is indeed a power. So it is x raised to the 1/2 power. That's why it's important when you are in college algebra that you learn how to change a fraction to a negative power and a square root or any root to a fractional power. So when x to the 1/2, okay, so in the textbook it say, okay, when n is positive integer, when n is negative integer. And the power rule works for any n, as long as n is a real number. And you don't need to prove that. The proof require advanced calculus. But all you need to know is how to apply it. You always apply the rule, okay? So what you need to do, you take down the power. So power is 1/2. And then you multiply by x raised to the power subtract by 1. So what is 1/2 subtract by 1? It's just negative 1/2. Okay? Then you will get, if you want to simplify it, is 1 over 2 square root of x. Do not get confused when there's a negative in the power. Okay? That doesn't mean your answer is a negative quantity. Negative in the power means your answer is a fraction.